And it looked like Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White definitely had a situation where they was in a heated exchange right before halftime.
Caitlin Clark, you need to go up to their front office, demand Stephanie White to be fired, removed.
They want the front office to pick between Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White, man.
It was only a matter of time, bro, that Caitlin Clark was going to obviously have words with Stephanie White.
Caitlin Clark needs to get the hell out of Indiana.
I think this is one of those things where it might be a turning point.
The locker room door slammed shut with a force that shook the entire hallway. Inside, voices were raised, tension was crackling, and the Indiana Fever season was about to change forever. Caitlin Clark had finally reached her breaking point, and Stephanie White was about to face the consequences of her coaching decisions in the most explosive confrontation of the WNBA season. What happened next would send shockwaves through the basketball world and leave fans wondering if the league's biggest star was ready to walk away from Indiana for good.
The word on the street is CC told Stephanie White to sit Kelsey Mitchell and Howard because they don't pass. Could be true. CC went to tie her shoe after passing to Howard on a play. LOL.
And it is clear that there is a philosophical rift in the team.
The shouting match that followed wasn't just about one bad game or one questionable substitution. It was about months of frustration, wasted talent, and a superstar who felt like her coach was actively sabotaging her career. Clark's eyes were blazing with disbelief. She had carried this franchise into the national spotlight, only to find herself shoved to the periphery of a game plan that seemed allergic to superstar talent. Imagine building your entire marketing campaign around a record-breaking second-year phenom, then benching her when the lights are brightest. That is precisely the theater of the absurd playing out in Indiana.
She don't know what she's doing. She's holding Caitlin Clark back. She don't know what to do with her.
Yeah, I know Caitlin Clark plays a certain type of way. You want to build a team around your superstar player. That is not the case for this team. This front office solely, to me, only care about the regiment of their team.
Y'all was way better without her. Last year, you hear me? She is sabotaging your game. She trying to make you play slow. Know what I'm saying? You have to have the ball in your hand and play up tempo. That's your game. And everybody, even Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder can see that. You hear me? And everybody that's saying the Fever is better without Caitlin Clark, aka my precious CC, goofy.
Fans aren't just whispering critiques. They're howling in frustration. Social updates brim with comments like, "I paid for Clark Magic, not this circus," and "If this is what Fever basketball looks like, count me out." When your most valuable asset feels sidelined, it is no longer a coaching mistake. It is an affront to everyone who bought into the promise. But here's where you come in. If you're watching this and feeling the same frustration that thousands of fans are experiencing, then smash that like button and drop "Free Caitlin" in the comments below. Let's send a message that can't be ignored. Let's make sure the Indiana Fever front office knows exactly how we feel about what's happening to our superstar. To understand how we got to this explosive moment, we need to go back to where it all began. Rewind a few months and you'll find the spark that ignited this entire inferno. Stephanie White, speaking about the Dallas Mavericks last season, offered a take so astonishing it went viral. The Mavericks just played differently without Luka on the floor. She said, "The ball is moving, it's popping, multiple players stepping up. Let that sink in."
Stephanie White right here talking about Luka.
A wrist sprain in that game and has been out since. And that puts a lot on the plate of players like Spencer Dinwiddie, who just came in, who finds Marshall for the corner three.
When you see the Mavs just play differently without Luka on the floor, he's a guy who's high usage rate, the ball's in his hands. When he's not on the floor, that ball is moving, it's popping, multiple players getting involved in action, and everyone's stepping up.
Okay, you can hear the excitement in her voice talking about Luka not being in there. Oh, they're moving and they're popping and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh no. You hear that and you wonder, is she one of these coaches that doesn't believe in the transcendent player?
The coach was effectively saying the team is better without his face of the franchise. The guy who carried them to an NBA Finals appearance and won the league scoring title. It was like a bakery claiming it sells more pastries after firing the head chef. White's comment was painted over social feeds with shock and laughter. Analysts scoffed, fans howled, but White doubled down, framing it as a cornerstone of her coaching philosophy. No player is bigger than the system. That moment suddenly made perfect sense when a similar script unfolded in Indiana. Replace Luka with Clark and the Mavericks with the Fever, and you have the same narrative. Your superstar is a liability.
Stephanie White, you deserve the Dodo Bird of the Day award.
And if they do not want to get a coaching, make a coaching change and bring in who she wants, that is going to cater to her style and build the team around her strengths, then she should walk.
And who do you think that the fans come to see? They don't come see everybody else that's on that team. I'm sorry. There's no disrespect. The Caitlin Clark effect, the CC effect is real.
This wasn't an offhand remark or a throwaway line. It was a manifesto. And when you realize that every baffling lineup rotation, every cold benching, every stagnant quarter starts to click into place, Stephanie White's mantra is simple. If you handle the ball too much, you are a problem. She wants a flowing offense where everyone shares responsibilities, where the ball dances around like a pinball. In theory, this sounds delightful. Freewheeling motion, unselfish teamwork, fancy feeds. In practice, it too often looks like a broken shopping cart, jerking without direction. Players bumping into one another trying to find purpose.
Bro, I don't even understand the spacing of the offense. I'm watching Caitlin Clark drive down the right side of the lane, and Natasha Howard, rather than spacing the floor and stand in the corner, she's diving to the basket, bringing a defender to Caitlin. It's just, bro, the offense is just trash. I got to be honest with you.
But what I will say with Stephanie White is just that I hate this offense. I do not like the Indiana Fever's offense this season. It's hard to watch. And I feel like Stephanie White is bringing what she was doing with the Connecticut Sun over here.
That's exactly why men need to be coaching in the WNBA, bro. Need to be coaching. Yeah, let a man do it, bro. Because all this women coaching other women athletes, bro, it's out of there. And then these women owners and all of that, man, please, bro. Y'all just tearing stuff down, bro. It's not about y'all. But it's crazy, though.
Caitlin Clark is not just any player. She is a generational point guard built to orchestrate, to ignite, to elevate. Bench her engine and everything grinds to a halt. Yet White insists that stacking usage on Clark stifles team cohesion. She preaches that high usage rates lead to predictability and isolation. But the facts say otherwise. When Clark is off the floor, the offense flatlines. Teammates wander, support scorers shrink, and defenses feast on confusion.
You played Natasha Howard more minutes in the first half than you played Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark played the fourth most minutes out of everybody in the starting lineup in the first half, and you wonder why we're losing. Caitlin, 12 points, 9 assists, but she don't even look like the same player. She don't look enthusiastic. She just don't even look like she into it anymore. She kind of look like she over this, you know what I mean? And to be honest, as a Caitlin Clark fan, I'm pretty much over it as well. I just got to keep it real with you. I'm pretty much over this as well. This season is a travesty. I just feel like, she needs to explore other options.
This system first flopped at Vanderbilt under White and her mentor, Carolyn Peck. Despite Peck's championship pedigree, the Commodores limped through seasons with 7 wins, then 7 more, before modest improvement arrived too late. Players opted out, fans stayed away, and the campus buzzed with frustration. Now, equipped with a WNBA sideline, White is redrawing the same blueprint with far higher stakes. Instead of students in Knoxville, it is front-page writers and primetime broadcasts awaiting success. The result is eerily familiar. A team floundering despite undeniable talent. But what happens when the star tries to shine within the rubble? Let us turn to Clark's current plight. Look at the numbers. Clark's usage rate has plummeted by nearly 20% compared to her outstanding debut campaign. Her average points per game have dipped, her assists have stalled, and her trademark court vision is masked by stagnant ball movement. The superstar once setting arenas alight now looks like a visitor at a slow rehearsal. Every time she touches the ball, you can see the hesitation. Teammates aren't sprinting the break. Screens arrive late or not at all. Defenders collapse on her instantly, daring her to force a shot. This isn't Caitlin playing off her talent, it is Caitlin being played off the talent she earned. The electric energy she brought to sold-out crowds has fizzled into a collective shrug. And it is not as though Clark has changed. She still drills deep threes, still threads needles, still reads the floor like an open book. The only thing that has changed is her opportunity. White's system greets every initiative with a scatter plot of rotations, an algorithm that treats artistry like a glitch. The result is a superstar stripped of rhythm, funneled into isolation, forced to fight for every inch. Game after game, the box score tells the tale. Subpar shooting night, team collapse, coach chalks it up to adjustment period, fans call foul, pundits shake their heads. The core issue remains masked behind jargon about balance and unpredictability. But the ghosts of past failures linger in the background. Time to revisit history. This is not White's first rodeo. At Vanderbilt, she preached system purity under Peck's championship mantra. The scoreboard read 7 wins, 23 losses, then 7-24 the next season. Players transferred en masse. Supporters lost faith. Anyone watching realized that a coach who fears star power will choke the life out of her best assets. Peck and White won a title together years before that Vanderbilt stint, but success in collegiate tournaments does not guarantee magic in professional arenas. The WNBA demands different rhythms, different egos, and higher stakes. Yet White has essentially transplanted the same blueprint. She chased the myth that unpredictability trumps superstar reliability. She sacrificed momentum for motion. And when discontent brewed, she blamed the players for not buying in rather than the system for failing them. Now, standing on WNBA hardwood, her track record is replaying in real time. The Fever's inconsistent record offers no solace when you consider the resources they poured into Clark's arrival. When you set up a star for media tours, jersey campaigns, and primetime slots, then sideline her during crunch time, you risk losing both glory and trust. So why are fans finally seeing it in Indiana? Because the misfires have piled up too high to ignore. Social media has evolved into a digital riot. Under Fever posts, "Free Caitlin" is trending. One fan demanded, "Release our star or release our money back." Another threatened to sit out the entire season. Even casual viewers not schooled in basketball tactics sense the mismatch. They see the empty seats, hear the muted cheers, and wonder why their ticket purchase feels like a front row to a slow-motion meltdown. Sponsors have started asking pointed questions. National broadcasters are uneasy, tiptoeing around post-game press conferences as if a minefield awaits every coach interview. Sports journalists hound front office reps with, "What's your plan to fix the ball in Clark's hands?" And insiders whisper that some executives fear losing the league's marquee draw if the situation continues. This is not a fringe grievance. It is a mass uprising. Fans paying top dollar for televised excitement are instead getting reruns of set plays featuring mid-range bricks and wasted downtime. They invested their passion in Clark's ascent and see it suffocating under a system that refuses her spotlight. And when enough people sense a betrayal, they mobilize. They share clips, tag the team, flood comment threads with pleas for change. That digital thunder is impossible to ignore. But what must the Fever front office do to quell the storm? The evidence keeps mounting against White's approach. Just look at what happened when Clark returned from her recent groin injury. After missing 5 games, she came back to a completely different starting lineup. White made unprecedented changes, moving pieces around like a chess master who forgot the objective is to win. The result was predictable. Clark looked uncomfortable, the team looked disjointed, and fans felt betrayed all over again. Her return game against the Golden State Valkyries ended in an embarrassing 80-61 defeat. 10 points on 4 of 12 shooting, 2 of 5 from beyond the arc. These aren't the numbers of a superstar being unleashed. These are the numbers of a player being suffocated. But here's what makes it even more maddening. The Fever actually won the Commissioner's Cup without Clark on the floor. Natasha Howard stepped up with 16 points and 12 rebounds in a 74-59 victory over the defending champion Minnesota Lynx. White and her defenders point to this as proof that the system works. They claim it shows the team can function without relying on one player, but they're missing the point entirely. Nobody wants a team that plays better without their best player. Nobody wants to watch a championship squad that peaks when their superstar sits on the bench. The real tragedy is that Clark's individual brilliance still shines through the chaos. Even in a diminished role, she's averaging over 17 points and 8 assists per game this season. She's making highlight reel passes, drilling impossible threes, and carrying the offensive load whenever White finally unleashes her. But those moments feel like stolen glimpses of greatness, rather than the sustained excellence we should be witnessing every night. Meanwhile, the coaching decisions keep getting more puzzling. White recently justified her lineup changes by talking about Clark setting screens and playing off the ball. She emphasized how Clark could get open looks if she focused on moving without the basketball. But this completely misses what makes Clark special. She's not just a shooter who needs to find good looks. She's a floor general who makes everyone around her better when she has the ball in her hands. She's a playmaker who can create offense out of thin air. She's a leader who thrives on controlling the tempo and dictating the flow of the game. The frustration reached a boiling point when White was fined by the league for her comments about officiating. After Clark took multiple hard fouls in a physical game against the Connecticut Sun, White went on a rant about the referee's failure to protect her star player. On the surface, this looked like a coach defending her player. But dig deeper and you see the contradiction. White wants the officials to protect Clark from physical play, but she won't protect Clark from her own system that limits her impact on the game. The irony is thick. White demands that referees give Clark the call she deserves, but she won't give Clark the touches she deserves. She wants the league to recognize Clark's special status when it comes to fouls, but she won't recognize Clark's special status when it comes to offensive responsibility. She'll fight for Clark's right to drive to the basket without getting hammered, but she won't fight for Clark's right to run the offense without getting micromanaged. This pattern extends beyond just Clark. White's system treats all players like interchangeable parts in a machine. She values movement over individual excellence, system over star power, predictability over playmaking, but basketball isn't played by robots. It's played by humans with different strengths, different instincts, different ways of impacting the game. The best coaches understand this. They build systems that maximize their best players' strengths while minimizing their weaknesses. They create frameworks that enhance individual talent rather than constraining it. White seems to believe that chaos creates opportunities. She thinks that if everyone touches the ball, everyone will find their rhythm. She assumes that if the offense is unpredictable, defenses will struggle to adjust. But the WNBA has evolved beyond this philosophy. The best teams in the league understand that you need a hierarchy. You need go-to players who can create shots when the system breaks down. You need stars who can take over games when the stakes are highest. Look at the teams that have succeeded recently. The Las Vegas Aces built around Aja Wilson's dominance in the paint. The New York Liberty maximized Breanna Stewart's versatility. The Seattle Storm rode Sue Bird's leadership and Jewel Lloyd's scoring. These franchises understood that great players need great opportunities. They didn't try to diminish their stars. They tried to enhance them. The Fever had that opportunity when they drafted Clark. They had a chance to build something special around a generational talent. Instead, they've spent 2 seasons trying to fit her into a system that doesn't maximize her abilities. They've wasted precious time trying to prove that team basketball is more important than star basketball. They've sacrificed wins trying to validate a coaching philosophy that doesn't work with elite players. And the clock is ticking. Clark isn't going to wait forever for the Fever to figure it out. She's already shown glimpses of frustration with the system. She's already had to answer questions about her role and her usage. She's already dealing with whispers about whether Indiana is the right place for her to reach her full potential. If things don't change soon, those whispers could become shouts. The solution isn't complicated. Give Clark the ball. Let her run the offense. Trust her to make the right decisions. Build plays that get her teammates involved through her playmaking rather than despite it. Create an environment where her individual brilliance enhances team success rather than competing with it. This isn't about abandoning team basketball. It's about understanding that the best team basketball often flows through great individual players. Here is the bottom line. Championship teams get built around their best players. You ask the Bulls about Jordan, the Lakers about Magic, or the Fever about Clark. Actually scratch that. Ask anyone who has ever watched a winning franchise. They will tell you the same truth. Stars need freedom. They need the ball. They need confidence in crunch time. Stephanie White must pivot or risk watching her brightest asset walk away. That means adjusting the playbook, not preserving it at all costs. It means handing Clark the keys to the offense and stepping off the stage. It means admitting that unpredictability is not a virtue when it sacrifices your superstar's flow. It means coaching smarter or honestly just coaching less. Imagine Clark putting up 25 and 12 every night, leading the league in assists and restoring primetime ratings. Imagine sold-out crowds chanting her name because she is unchained, unstoppable, unmissable. That is the vision worth chasing. Anything less is just cosmetic noise. So if you believe Steph White is dragging this team into stagnation, drop Free Caitlin in the comments. Let the Fever front office hear it. Let the fans unite under one hashtag. Because if you want to keep the star of the show, you need to stop directing a rerun and start broadcasting live brilliance. And for more high voltage WNBA coverage, subscribe now and never miss an explosive update.